All right, welcome back to the match. Ladies and gentlemen, this is game number 2 in this best of 7. It's the last best of 7 we have today for our Starbow ladder match series. We've had some pretty good games out of the Axiom boys. We've seen Innovation once already, and of course, let's not forget the second and third place winners that started today off for you all. But this is the very last one. Spawning here in the top left corner of the map. He's blue, he's Terran, he's from Acer. Ladies and gentlemen, Innovation.
In the upper right, as the green Zerg, it is Franscar. And we are not seeing a 2-Rax.
No, certainly not. Franscar, of course, for those who don't know him, to give him a bit of a build-up, he did win the entirety of Season 1 for the Starbow ladder, came out on top. There's about a $400 prize pool in that tournament, and today started with $75, but now we got another, I think it was about 75 chipped into that, so there's a $150 prize for this best of 7. So all of a sudden, loser makes a little bit more, winner makes a little bit more, and I think everyone comes out a little bit happier.
I can't think of someone who isn't.
Right? Like more money? No way. No thank you. It's too much for me to handle.
I can't handle all these bills. Right.
Why can't I hold these dollars?
Yeah, exactly. This drone is coming out, I think, early, specifically because of last game. I mean, he did drone scout last time, but I believe it was a little bit later.
Right, and I think a lot of last game, it's really unfortunate that went the way it did. It wasn't a good start for Franscar, but it's worth noting, guys, again, like, he had to beat back all of the Terrans, all the Protoss, and all the other Zergs to get here, to be playing in our Showmatch series, but also to win the Ladder Cup for Season 1. I mean, that's not like he played a couple games in one. There was 3 giant tournaments leading up to it. We had the entire ladder for Starbow as well. These players had to grind to be able to compete in the first place, plus the finale. So, Franscar is... I don't know if it's fair to say the best of the best, but he's the winniest of the winniest when it came to representing Starbow here.
Yes, he is.
It's hard to say that, though, because the player pool for this was kind of limited in the first place. And you got some really good players like BaseTradeTV, for example, who probably weren't able to participate in the first place because they didn't have enough ladder points because they're focusing on their regular StarCraft 2 career, so... Again, I can't tell you objectively whether Franscar is the best Starbow player there is or not outside of Korea, but he's pretty damn good.
Well, we're actually going to have a game that goes at least to the mid-game. Innovation has a number of things he can do now. I mean, we rarely ever cast TBZ. Let's start off with that, so that kind of sucks. But something we've always seen is there's definitely the very popular like Marine Firebat push. That pretty much is like... What?
Well, I'm just thinking as you talk about that, you know, we saw Lurkers really shut down Bio all the time, but Marauders were what we used to break that, right? So with Marauders having been removed from the game, I can't help but wonder if Bio's even going to be that effective or not.
The thing is that in Brood War, you didn't have Marauders either, and you still managed. The goal was to get up to tanks and side.
Right.
So I don't think it's that big of a deal. Marauders seem to be like an emergency. Like you didn't see the Lurkers coming, so you had to do something that like soaked them up a little bit more so than that was the counter. But yeah. So going back, the Marine Firebat push, you needed a lot of Sunkens or rather spine crawlers to defend it, and even then sometimes they just run past with the Firebats and kill a lot of drones. That can be kind of popular. And then of course just the regular old defend against the mutas, which mutas are very popular in this matchup because they get around 10 and they're very effective, and then you can go into lurkers and hive tech and whatnot.
Side note, while this is just kind of building up, guys, we just had a sub while this was going on. Holy crap. First sub of the day, Quiet Drone. Thank you for subbing, man. I hope you've been enjoying the series so far, and come back to the channel for more. Whether it's StarCraft 2 or Starbow, we appreciate your support. Oh yeah, also on your double partoofs, etc. You bunch of greedy ragamuffins.
We have Stim, and we have a medic on the way. Also have a lair for Franscar, so we're going for that 3-hatch muta, which, if you're going to go for that Marine Firebat push, it's supposed to happen right before or as the Spire goes down, or the mutas come out, rather. I don't think that's what we're going to see. It's going to be a regular Marine medic poke, and then back off. And it's actually not going to be Spire. It's going to be, apparently, just for Hydralisk and Lurkers.
Lurkers are just so good against Bio. I mean, you could stim in, you could try and spread your Marines. I guess with perfect micro against low amounts of Lurkers, this Bioforce can contend. But for the most part, we've just seen absolute slaughter when it comes down to it. One thing I do like, though, is that by getting enough medics early on, you guarantee that you're not exactly going to get completely wrecked by the splash damage, just the initial unit itself will probably die. And Lurkers do have a fairly long cooldown, so if he goes for the, oh gosh, I can't remember what the upgrade's called, but the one that makes it so Scanner Sweep doesn't cost energy, but instead takes 2 charges and has a cooldown, he'll be able to actually push into Lurker lines, again, early on when there's not a lot of them.
All right, so he sees this push coming out, which is very important. We had a laying out front. So he puts on a few more spine crawlers. This is exactly what you need to do. Innovation is hoping to catch him before whatever the lair tech is out. So before mutas are out or before lurkers are out. And by doing so, also keeps them back so he can prepare against them, you know, whether it's turrets or getting up the tanks really, really fast. Now, he's going to see that it's going to be lurkers and hydralisks. And we're going to see if he's going to try and push past this. You can push past with the fire bats.
I do like that the Lurkers are coming down the back, not exposing the front lines. Lings do try and dive into this to draw the attention of the Marines. The Firebats go down right away, actually, and a Nurturing Swarm will keep one of these Spine Crawlers alive, but as we see, the medics are keeping these Marines alive very nicely through this. A Queen enrages for nothing, and here comes the Lurkers. Will this hold? It's going to be the big question. They'll get some big damage in. Some drones are being pulled on top of this, keep the last Lurkers alive. But the Queens get slaughtered, and these Marines can just walk up to the main. They don't even need to fight the Lurkers here at the natural.
Yeah, he thought about it. You can see that he thought about it, but takes out another one.
Oh, well, the medics are starting to get out of energy, though, so it gets a little bit troublesome for innovation, but Franscar doesn't have more Lurkers behind us. It's the one, and he unburrows it. Ugh. A little bit scary. Some more Circling's getting on top of this, and the Marine count's starting to dwindle. A lot of medics are standing, but there's not a lot for them to heal, so looks like Franscar will hold this. That could have been much worse.
It could have been game ending, but honestly, it shouldn't have even done that much, I feel. 2 more spine crawlers, even just 1 more, or more lings, actually, was probably the one thing he needed. Anything like that. And he holds that no problem, and his counterattack is really powerful because he has lurkers, while his opponent doesn't have anything to back them off. He only has Marines. But with only 1 lurker, like just a scan and a stim forward, will actually be able to take care of it. Plus bunkers.
Well, it's only 5
more time.
Lurkers can still range a bunker, unless there's barrel stabilizers.
It's supposed to buy time, it's not supposed to...
Oh. Well, actually, no, there's barrel stabilizers. I didn't even catch them. Research that. So Marines inside of a bunker can't match the range of a Lurker.
Oh, okay.
It's the dynamic of range and Marines. Like, you expect them to be so much bigger. Like, what is that? Am I right?
Well, now Franscar can't push in here. He goes into a Spire afterwards. He's also getting that 3rd base down in the bottom. And also really quick Hive.
Hive is going to be really great versus Terran. One of the biggest things we've seen are Defilers, Dark Swarms, Plagues. These are all things you absolutely need moving into the late game versus Terran. And quite frankly, Dark Swarms, when used correctly, are almost impossible to deal with, if we're going to be quite honest. Well, this poor Marine didn't stand a chance. That head went rolling all the way to the Lurker corpses. Drone transfer, this is ballsy coming across the map like this. You risk giving it away, you risk them being picked off, but happy with his contain over innovation. Franscar not going to sweat it too much.
Well, again, he knows that it's a contain. That's kind of the dynamic of when this happens, that they very rarely are going to be able to have enough units to like save off to the side to attack this 3rd, which he should know is there. That's the 3rd that you actually see a lot. In fact, getting some Scourge in case, I guess, for the science vessels, although they are not quite out yet.
Oh, hey, I gotta go give an update to this guy because the bot didn't pick it up for some reason. Scumbag bot. But $30 donated by Rhea Mar. Thank you very much, sir. Great Twitch name, by the way, because it's one of the subs of the channel. Thank you for being awesome.
For the Showmatch?
Yeah.
Cool. These guys are making bank.
Oh, no, I think that's like a tip for us. Came through that link.
Oh.
So unless you clicked the wrong link and didn't mean to send it to us. Either way, thank you very much for your donation wherever that money's intended to go. PM me if it's not going towards the casters and we'll get that fixed ASAP. But a couple Scourge are in anticipation of science vessels, but innovation's actually not gone for that. Instead opted to get the tanks instead.
Yeah, tanks. You can go immediately for science vessels. It's actually a style, but tanks are like the more safe go-to. They can also outrange lurkers without being sieged. The more you know. The whole point of this, though, is that needs to buy time to get those defilers, that's what they're called, defilers out with Consume and Blinding, or rather, Dark Swarm.
He's losing the Scourge, he's losing the Lurkers, he's got to be careful. Meanwhile, a drop goes off while this is happening. Lurkers will burrow and clean this up. Very awkward spot to take that fight. And the Scourge almost pick off the medevac, but the Queen actually finishes the job. Now pushing in the front lines. Again, siege tanks are here, but they do have siege mode. This is not going to be easy for Franscar.
There's one defiler.
But Consume's only just finished up. He's going to have to eat some... Coming from behind, though, Franscar might look to flank Innovation, and this could work if he comes in from 2 angles at the same time. Consume does go down. A Dark Swarm allows these to reposition right on top of the bio. Zergling's coming in from behind, and this will force Innovation back. Lurkers coming from the behind as well. Surprise.
Well, this might still not work out, though. Innovation still takes down a lot of Lurkers and keeps most of his tanks alive.
But
the Bioforce did, it took a beating, but, you know.
That Defiler came out at the perfect time.
Well, it saved the game for him, but
yes.
It's still in favor of Innovation, I would say.
Definitely, Innovation. I mean, when you're the one putting pressure on, it's because you're dictating the pace of the game. He's got Irradiate coming up behind this with Science Vessel, something that's perhaps a little bit lacking. One awkward lurk in the middle of the map. Not quite going to kill these medics, but almost. Oh, those Marines actually don't have medic coverage. That's awkward.
Science Vessel's finally coming in. Also getting a second
Defilers. What? This seems like way too many. He doesn't have any units for them to support.
Oh, wow, yeah, 6 Defilers, that is too many. The whole goal is yeah, you're supposed to buy time with them until you get like a big army, but like you're also supposed to have a big army.
If he had Plague, this would be different. But Lurk is going to move forward before the Dark Swarm goes down. That's a mistake for sure.
Yeah, and the way we can see Innovation is doing it, he's not even using tanks anymore, and the reason is because tanks are kind of ineffective against Dark Swarm. So if they're gonna, you know, stick with Dark Swarm for a very long time, you're probably not gonna break them, and they're slowly gonna get back into the game. You go for Psi Vessels, and then suddenly you can irradiate to the Defilers and kill them like straight up, and then go in. And it's a style that was actually newer in Brood War.
Right. One of the things here with these Defilers is just. Oh, actually, hang on. He doesn't have regular burrow. He can't keep these alive if they get caught. That's really unfortunate. We're pushing in here too strong. Science Vessels on the front lines. There are some Scourge available, but I don't think it's going to cut it. To explain how Dark Swarm works, guys, you've been watching it go off. If you're unfamiliar with the unit, the mechanic of the Defiler, it makes it so no range damage can hurt anything within the cloud. So if you're in the cloud, it doesn't matter if you've got 5,000 Marines on you, you won't take a lick of damage.
Although the Fire Bat should be able to do damage.
Yeah, they're still melee. But they go down so fast to the Lurkers that it doesn't... Really
you know, almost never see it unless it's like an emergency. One thing that Franscar has going in his favor is that Innovation has never gotten a third. He doesn't look interested in a third.
That is true.
Which sucks because he had a really nice lurker, like a burrow thing on top of that ramp. But
I think he may just have assumed that Franscar never took a third either. Never having scouted that hidden base.
Should have assumed that. The thing is, though, Oh,
he's gonna find out now. He knows what's up. He's like, your economy's way too good. There's no way you're still on 2 bases.
Yeah, and that's usually, you know, you see a lot of Zergs take those bases, so I think he just, you know, is biding his time and just going for it.
Nice
and there should be lurkers here. Yeah, that's the other reason that you don't usually see this before you get drop ships, because, well, you don't go up that.
Awkward Queen is awkward, gonna be sacrificed here to the Blood God. Irradiate's going off like crazy still over here. Irradiates, by the way, guys, they do a set amount of damage, but they also do damage around the unit, which makes it so unfortunate that you have to sacrifice it the way that just happened. 180 damage. I think Ultralisks are one of the few units that a Zerg player has that won't die to it. But a Nidus Worm coming down. This is definitely to reinforce the base, not so much as like an aggressive Nidus Worm, but he can always use that later on.
Usually you put it in your main and then you build the secondary Nidus here. That's weird.
Yeah, I know, it's usually like the reversal, but...
Yeah, it should be the reversal because that's where most of your units... Well, anyways, he was going to be able to take care of this before he loses, and not even a...
Oh my god, that Marine hit! But back at home, he's going to need to get that Nidus Worm up. He doesn't have any Defilers anymore. You know, he made so many early on to an extent where I would almost call them wasteful, but now he's going to need them more than ever for these Dark Swarms. However, coming across the map, all the Lurkers, all the units are on the wrong side of the field. Another big push from Innovation with these Marines. He's going to really just bully on with his bio. The front lines have almost been held. Almost. Franscar coming with Marine. Zerglings will actually clean this up. Meanwhile, if those Lurkers hadn't been moved, if they had been remained burrowed, this base would have been saved, I think. Innovation would have just walked right over this.
Yeah, that would have been absolutely devastating. But, you know, Innovation, although he's been taking decent trades every single time, Franscar has done the appropriate steps to survive in this game. He's gotten Defilers, he's held on, he just lost a lot of Lurkers, that kind of sucks, but still, I mean, he's still on 3 base, going on to 4 as well, getting those Nidus Worms up. And Innovation's still not on the third. His third did finish, but it's not, you know, it's not mining or anything like that. So Franscar's doing a really great job against a pro player.
I don't like that the Nidus Worm is so far to the front, though. This is kind of a danger.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Man,
Jesus.
Nidus Swarms and Starbow are so big. Why does StarCraft not make them big and scary like this?
And the sound they make is so much better. Like I think they
I think. Okay, so I think moving forward in this game, one thing we're really lacking for Franscar, other than actual units to fight with, is first I'm taking a lot of irradiates, but there's not been any sort of plague research behind this. Oh, a transfuse actually goes down to Defiler. Will that be enough to keep it alive? I don't think that. I think you need 2, right?
That's a good question. We're gonna follow this. We don't even care about anything else.
No, we'll still die. It almost killed so many other units with it, by the way. Like, that was the most dick move. Like, okay, I'm going down. I'm gonna take everybody with me. Everybody nearby. Scourge, Overlords, etc.
Yeah.
But this base down here is probably in a bit of trouble. Irradiates do go down, so these lurkers will eventually die. It's just a matter of buying time. Defiler can maybe throw out another Dark Swarm. He's consuming right now to try and get that, but... oh, a transfuse goes off. Again, it's 180 though. He'll need 2 transfuses. Or sorry, nurturing swarms rather, to keep this alive.
He set up the Dark Swarms to sort of like... to buy more time, but this base has got to go down. This is...
He's got to give him that Nidus. But he can't because there's a siege up at his front base too. Well, I shouldn't say a siege, but an actual siege. There's one lurker still stands though. This is such an awkward thing. Like, Innovation's got him contained on 2 different fronts, but he can't push in with either to win.
Yeah, that's kind of what happens though. It can be a little frustrating. But Franscar just doesn't have any breathing room to start getting ahead in this game.
I really wish he had Plague out. I mean, for those who don't know how Plague works, it's kind of like a fungal growth that doesn't root, but it also takes units down to 1 HP. So if you can consider like all these medics rather already being out of energy and all these Marines being at 1 HP, there's no way they engage into anything even close to like a lurker.
Yeah, and they also affect science vessels, so suddenly a Scourge take them down a lot easier when they're in such a up to 6, going on to 8. Very
Banlings
cool
do have
style.
speed, but Banlings don't move very fast in Starbow. They're not that effective either on top of Marines. I think Franscar is starting to flounder. He had a really strong start in this game, but Innovation has just proven to be a little too hard to deal with. It doesn't need scans, of course. He's got these science missiles here. Dark Swarm's coming in a little too late. Radius just going off, and the Nidus Swarm goes down, which means no more base transfers, which means this base is screwed. So are the drones, and now Innovation only has to worry about 1 base. This has been the biggest thing keeping him from pushing into win. There's so many Scourge for those science missiles.
You didn't realize he had banked up so many.
No, but it's not gonna matter. They can't engage the top of those Marines. More Radiates coming down. Gonna kill these Zerglings.
Why would you put the Lings on top of the Radiate?
Actually, I don't think it was affecting them.
Yeah, it wasn't. Good thing.
I guess burrowed units don't affect unburrowed units?
I don't actually know.
Yeah, neither do I. A couple more nurturing swarms coming down. It's a cool move to counteract it. It works on the lurkers, I think, because it heals for enough. But the base health on a Defiler is only 80, so it's just not enough.
It doesn't say anything about burrowed units. I just checked the tooltip, but oh well.
Maybe it's a bug, maybe it's not, I don't know. But counterattacks went off while this is happening. Innovation actually has nothing in these bunkers, and the depots are down. Zerglings do find a way to get in here. Adrenalize is finished, so these cracklings are making quick work of this base. Only depots here to repair, but this is just going to be Innovation's cue to push. Dark Swarm goes down, but it's only like a handful. Zerglings are even moving out of the Dark Swarm. There's like 2 Zerglings in this Dark Swarm. That's not going to stop it. But the Zerglings on the other side of the map are doing some real good damage. They're going to cut off all reinforcements, absolutely and entirely, but will that even matter? Innovation's already got enough to win the game, I feel.
Yeah, I feel so as well. And he has a bunch of other bases as well. Fire Bats coming out, help out against these Lings.
Well, I think Franscar put on a way better game this time. Getting to see more of the macro style, but still Innovation's pressure on multi-fronts just a little too strong, and I gotta say, he handled this game pretty freaking perfectly. I agree.
I think Franscar showed very strong. It looks like he's been practicing a lot of TVZ, knowing that this sort of match was coming. But Innovation just, this matchup really, too, is very identical to the Brood War matchup. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, and he knew exactly how to accomplish it. Maybe some of the stats were a little different, but I
can't help here, but like, there's 2 points in this game for Franscar that really made me go like, ugh. One was like the 7 Defilers early on when there's like 2 lurkers to play with, but the second is never getting Plague. Like, I really hate that he never got Plague in this game. I just feel like it would have done so much, I feel. Maybe it wouldn't have been the difference of victory or defeat, but it would have been a much stronger game for him. Yeah. I mean, that was Hive Tech 2 without Ultras. Let's talk about that as well. No Ultras behind that
You never had any money. Like the whole thing is that you buy enough time that you get enough of a army to actually like break the contain, and then you start seeing ultralisks and like more bases taken and split map scenarios.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like I'm not trying to call Franscar a bad player. I'm just saying like there's all these little steps that are just like that's just shy of like a good victory, right?